I don't know where my wife went.
What's going on? You filming?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm closer. Now I'm more in frame.
Hey, welcome to another Rhinodillo Designs video. We're doing a little bit of mail time today because we got this in. You can see it's from Hero Forge, and this is a little figurine of the very first Dungeons and Dragons character that I've ever made. Now, Hannah's played before. You played before, right?
I mean...
Have you made a character before?
I don't even know what I did.
You don't even... It was in college.
It was like, they were really into it, and I was like, well, you're my friends. Let's try this. And then I was very bored.
Yay, peer pressure. Okay. So, yeah, I reconnected with some friends recently, and we started playing D&D on Saturdays. So, if you're ever interested in that, we stream our D&D sessions on Twitch Saturdays from 10 p.m. to about midnight Central Time. And we have like this core main campaign that we're going through that this character is actually from, and interspersed within that main campaign as like we get sections completed and our dungeon master has to kind of come up with the next bit of story. We play other D&D campaigns that are kind of more preset and smaller. So we're actually about to start, or have just started, the Xanthar's Guide to Everything, I think is what it is. Yeah, that's about as much as I know. Oh, our dog is squeaky.
Come here, Fitz.
He's okay. He's got a ball. He's got a squeak ball.
He's happy.
Okay. Yeah, he's happy. Okay, so I'm excited to open this. This is my character. And Hannah's excited to see because she's really curious. Let's go ahead and get this open. It is tiny. Okay, there's some bubble wrap. That's it. All that box for this little thing.
It was very safe.
It was very safe. I think these are 3D printed, and we are going to paint it this video.
This video?
This video.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's so tiny.
It is so tiny. Look at this guy.
He's cool looking.
He is cool looking. So this guy's name is Gideon Stone, and he's my main character.
Little vines growing up around his
Yeah,
legs.
so since he's a
little stack of books.
A little stack of books, yeah. So and he's got his. So I have a great axe that is kind of like my main weapon right here. That I actually have. I have a small crossbow, a small crossbow on his back, and the longsword, and like those are actually the weapons that I carry in the game. And the vines and stuff growing up, and the stack of books are more along the lines of like his alignment. So he is a paladin, and paladins have an alignment, like they take an oath to like some deity, and so he's an oath of the ancients, and so he's more like aligned with nature and like just I don't know. He's good. He's good.
Oath is what gives the class their holy whoop-ass powers?
Whoop-ass.
Oh. I did not expect that to be one word.
And then, the books are for like the limited spells and stuff that he knows. So, yeah, anyways, there's my character. And so he's tiny. Look at him. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to take some time and paint him this video and just bring you along for that ride. Let's fast forward to painting this guy. Okay, so we are set up here with my figurine, and to prep it, got some denatured alcohol here. So I've got this blotter brush here that I'm just gonna kind of blot on the denatured. It should be enough just to clean it. I'm going to try to hold this still. There we go. The reason I use the denatured is because normally I would use a degreaser. I don't have a degreaser, but this is probably better because it's a very fluid. And it evaporates really quickly. And I can go on and brush that on, get all of the dust and particles off that may be there from manufacturing and shipping. I'm assuming that the gray is a primer, but I am not sure. I'm guessing that it is, that the manufacturer sprayed on in, after they 3D printed it. It could be the actual color of the plastic. I'm just not sure about that. But giving it another light coat of primer will just help things. It'll make me sure that it's prepped properly for paint. Okay. So that's it. Just want to give it a nice even coat, very light, and let that dry. Well, welcome to the voiceover portion of the video where I talk over the video, because that's what a voiceover is. Well, interesting thing that I discovered about myself while I was working on this minifigure painting, and that is that I really, really hate painting minifigures. Oh man, it was probably one of the most challenging tasks art-wise that I've ever really tried to give myself. And that's really saying something. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy painting. I love mixing colors and, figuring out a scene and stuff, but like this is something different. As a kid, I used to put together models, and like I did model cars and planes and jets and stuff like that. And it was interesting because the part that I really hated was actually putting on decals and like the little ornaments and whatever else that was extra outside of the structure itself. So looking at this painting or this minifigure like that, I can see why it wouldn't fit my taste. Another challenge that I was having was really keeping the minifigure in frame. There's a ton of footage that I cut out because the minifigure just wasn't in frame, and that was because the setup that I had, it's up on this little wire that I have it taped to with some Gorilla Tape, which was perfect. It was perfect for what I was trying to do, but it was also not appropriate for filming in my specific film setup. Now, I've filmed in the past different paintings, and it's different when you're filming a static thing that is on an easel or on a wall or on a table, and it's not gonna move from that base position and make it turned or whatnot, but you can pretty much easily film the progression of a painting that way. With a minifigure, it is different because you have to get very up close, and with the modified brush that I was using, I actually have this brush that I use for painting feathers that I've modified that way. It's kind of bushy at the very base, but has a few longer strands that come out to a point. And that was actually pretty effective in painting this figure and just the amount of detail that I was trying to achieve. Now, there were some challenging parts, and this is one of the very first figures that I've ever painted like this, if not the very first. I don't really remember doing this in the past, although I may have at some point. But definitely never to this degree of complexity and detail. So when I was working with this thing, I was picking it up and like ended up getting really close to it, and trying to work in the various details of the 3D print itself. And that just did not lend itself for my filming setup. I really wish that I had like a GoPro strapped to my head. That way you could just see what I was seeing, and that would probably have been a whole lot better. But all in all, the process was successful, and I probably wouldn't ever do it again, to be honest. If I ever got a figure or some sort of toy or something like that in the future, especially if I was printing it myself, like ordering a figure that I created myself, I wouldn't put as much minute detail and complexity in the pose of the figure and some of the things that are around him. So those vines that are sprouting up from the ground, that was really hard to paint. I mean, you have one that's directly below him, kind of going up into his crotch basically, and then the books that are stacked behind, which I was really happy with how the books came out, and that's probably one of the best parts of this painting that I did. So I'm really happy with that, even though it was so very frustrating to do. One of the other things that I think may have impacted some of the complexity here was the paint that I was using. Now, I regularly use golden fluid acrylics. Those are my go-to for any type of canvas painting that I'm doing. And I know that there are minifigure and model paints out there. They are acrylic, but they are formulated a little bit differently to work good with plastics and have a different viscosity to them. Now, the fluid acrylics I really like and enjoy for canvas painting because on the palette they don't dry out as quickly, so you have a little bit more work time, and they're nice and opaque for the most part. The problem comes when you are working with something that you're trying to get a lot of fine detail. You're not moving the paint around a lot. You're not wanting to put additional liquid to the paint. So I'm not adding water to this paint because it'll thin it out too much and it'll actually run. And so the work time was a little bit quicker than what I'm used to. And because of that, there were a couple parts that started clumping as I was applying the paint. Now you can see that specifically with the crossbow that's on his back. So the butt of the crossbow is a little bit clumpy, but when I was doing it and when it happened, I smoothed it out enough, and it actually added a little bit of texture that was quite nice for that specific piece, and so it worked out in the end. But that was one of the challenges that I was dealing with just the application of this paint that I'm used to working with, just not in the same context. And I think if I was one to get into minifigure painting like this, or even model painting or whatnot, I would probably buy specific paints for it. Since I'm not, I wasn't going to put that money into this. this was more of an experiment. This is something that was sent to me, and I'm very grateful for it. And I did like the end result, but I don't think that this is a hobby or a practice that I will actually get into, or maybe even ever do again. So I was talking to my wife actually after I did this, and just kind of telling her how I felt about it and everything. And she was like, well, maybe next one I do. And I was like, yeah, that is all you. So if I ever get another one, I'm probably going to hand it over to her to paint, and we'll see how that goes. But I think I would be happier with the process if it was a larger figure. And I think that was really what was getting under my skin here with this whole process. But it is what it is. And I did get a specific paint for this figure when I went to go pick up some supplies for some other projects, and it is a metallic paint. I'm actually applying that right now to some of the sword and the axe and a couple of other metal pieces that is on him. And in the right light, you can very much tell it's a metallic paint and a metallic surface. But overall, I don't know that actually came across in the video or the pictures that I took, unfortunately. In person, it looks great. What I ended up doing when I was finished with the last kind of adornments here that I'm laying on right now for the edging of his coat and the cape and everything, there was I handed my phone off to my wife to work the camera, because at that point I had just finished the last details and my camera had run out of battery just before. Actually, it didn't run out of battery. It rained. I filled the memory card just before I finished the very last details here, and so I just wanted to get done, and I was kind of done with the project itself. So I hand the camera off to Hannah here, and you can hear our dog going off in the background. But basically, I took some finishing varnish that I have for my paintings, and that's what I'm spraying on here. And that's the painting. That's the figure. I was gonna do a wash, like a black wash.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, not gonna do it. Yeah, I definitely didn't do that black wash. Well, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to have a lot more art videos here in the future, and so that's definitely something you can expect from us, along with the build series that's been going on. If you haven't already subscribed, definitely do that. Click the like button, and check back in with us for more videos in the future. Until next time, I'll see ya.